is the whole attention on defund the police really a deflection by the party leadership from your own failures?
MSNBC host Mehdi Hasan drilled Democratic Congressman and Majority Whip Jim Clyburn over his continued fight against the progressive wing of the party. Now, this also includes his recent endorsement of Shontel Brown over Nina Turner. He randomly decided to jump into that race, apparently maybe because he was called out by Killer Mike during that town hall that Killer Mike, Nina Turner, and Cenk Uygur had, which is so weird that Clyburn would jump in because of that. But anyways, so this is part of that discussion. But then Mehdi Hasan here comes in and criticizes Clyburn over his fight against the progressive wing of the party.
I mean, I guess the context is you have been quite critical of the left of your party. The Democrats lost a net dozen House seats last November, despite winning the White House. You've been very critical of the party's progressive wing for, quote, sloganeering, you say, with movements like Medicare for All and defund the police. In May, though, Congressman, a focus group study from the polling firm Lake Research Partners found that swing voters paid only a little attention to Republican attacks on socialism or defunding the police, which they viewed as divisive fear-mongering, and that the bigger problem was that many voters didn't have a clear grasp of what the Democratic Party stood for. So is the whole attention on defund the police really a deflection by the party leadership from your own failures? That's what your critics on the left would say.
That is absolutely poppycock. I know what I'm talking about. I'm out here with the voters every day. I did a town hall meeting last night in Jasper County, South Carolina. I can tell you, defund the police is a non-starter, even with black people. And if you don't think that's true, then look at the results of what just happened in New York City's election. So the proof is in the pudding. I know what I'm talking about. I talk to people every day. And defund the police is a chokehold around the Democratic Party. And let me remind you, if you're going to categorize left and right, I'm on the left of my party. Nobody can call me anything but a progressive. And been one all of my life. Met my wife in jail, being progressive. So come on.
And I appreciate that. But Congressman, just on the specific issues, because I know you care strongly about this, when you say defund the police, I'm not talking about the popularity of it. I'm talking about whether it hurt your party. None of the candidates in the November House elections ran on defund the police. You mentioned New York. Not a single New York mayoral candidate ran on defund the police. So I'm not sure why. I mean, I know why Republicans keep going on and on about it. I'm not sure why you seem to think it's such a big problem for your party.
Ask Jimmy Harrison, who was running for the United States Senate here in South Carolina. Just ask him. Ask Abigail Spanberger up in Virginia why I said it. I said it because it's real. It's a real problem. We should stop sloganeering. In 1960, Burn, Baby Burn destroyed our movement. And defund the police will do the same thing to progressive movements today. This kind of sloganeering does us no good.
I take your point on sloganeering. I guess the problem is I watched a lot of Republican attack ads last November. They did mention defund the police. They also mentioned Nancy Pelosi. I'm sure you wouldn't say Nancy Pelosi's to blame for you losing. They mentioned corruption. The problem is Republicans are going to attack you always as socialists and lefties. And I think the problem becomes, are you kind of agreeing with their attack on your own party by talking so much about it? I guess that's the discussion.
All right. Jim Clyburn here, his reasoning is so absurd. So let me just, the slogan, defund the police, is not popular. The slogan isn't popular. When you describe the actual policy of maybe putting more police resources instead of into the police, say for mental health calls, but into mental health professionals, that is incredibly popular. But the slogan itself, defund the police, yes, not popular. But Clyburn brings up Jamie Harrison and Abigail Spanberger as people to talk to about defund the police. They don't support defund the police. Jamie Harrison didn't lose because he supported defund the police. He didn't support defund the police. How can you put a loss on a slogan, on a policy, when the people that you're claiming lost because of it don't even support the policy? What Clyburn is saying makes absolutely no sense. And in fact, the few Democrats that did win seats in November while supporting defund the police, I should say the few Democrats that did say defund the police and won are the same ones that won their races in November. So Jamal Bowman, Rashida Tlaib, Cori Bush all support defund the police. They spoke about that and they won their races. No Democrat that put out defund the police as something that they back lost their seat or lost a race. So, which really, I mean, shows you the opposite, that maybe, at least in certain areas, if you support defund the police, it actually helps your campaign. And on top of that, I mean, just in terms of progressive policy in general, like Medicare for all, everyone that supported Medicare for all in the House and the Senate kept their seats. So when we're talking about the popularity of policies, of progressive policies, of what people like Jamal Bowman or AOC or Rashida Tlaib or Cori Bush fight for, these are incredibly popular. Now, yes, in certain districts, like say certain districts in New York, defund the police may be popular when it's not popular in other places. That's fine. I'm not saying that every Democrat should run on the slogan defund the police. They shouldn't. But that doesn't mean you can't support those policies, but with a different slogan, or don't even use any slogan, but support moving police resources away and putting it into, say, other areas. But this eventually, I mean, we get to the heart of the issue here with the Democratic Party, and really it's the Democratic leadership. There is no message. So Mehdi Hasan is exactly right when he says that. Democrats don't lose because of these slogans. They lose because Democratic leadership has no real message for voters. If leadership went out there and said, hey, we support Medicare for all, we support guaranteed health care to everyone, you're going to pay less through your taxes than you currently do to a private insurance company, no more out-of-pocket expenses, no more deductibles, no more copays, and healthcare is guaranteed to you, free at the point of use. Just like in Canada, where I'm from, where I live, I have healthcare for free. I've had surgery, I've gone to the doctor countless times, never had to pay anything out of pocket except for, occasionally a prescription, and that's never been a lot for me. But so if they ran on issues like that, made it clear how your life would benefit if you voted for me, as opposed to really focusing, I mean, for the most part, Democratic leadership focusing mostly completely on very vague social issues, then like that is how you lose people. You have to, and that isn't to say don't run on the social issues. Of course, yes, call out the racism, call out the bigotry, support, be pro-choice. But if you're going to reach out to a different voting base or people that don't normally vote, you have to be able to offer them material benefits. You have to be able to convince them that you are going to change their life because you support this very specific thing that is not vague, that is clear what you support and that you will fight for. So the few Democrats that do that win their seats and win them in big numbers. The ones that don't are the ones that lose their seats. So it's funny because the Democrats that lost their seat in the House in November, all of them were moderates, all of them. And they turn around and blame defund the police for losing. How can you blame defund the police for losing when the few Democrats that support defund the police won their races, you didn't support it, and you lost? It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. No matter what happens, they're going to blame progressives regardless, because they will never be able to accept the fact that they are the reason that they lost. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, who they serve, their corporate donors, wealthy donors, are the reason that they lost, and their attachment to that money, to that corruption. So this is an ongoing issue, of course, for Democratic leadership. But I guarantee you, if Democrats don't find a message and don't actually get anything done for Americans in these next couple of years, they are going to lose control of Congress.